You,
To start with Radha Madhav Prabhu.
yes, Prabhu, sure.
Proceed with the Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदनंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय यशोदनंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय श्री राधा माधव की जय। ग्रंथरा श्री श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। शील प्रभुपाद की जय। शील गुरुदेव की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपादकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं। नमो विष्णुपद कृष्ण नमो विष्णुपद कृष्ण भूतलक्ष्मीते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम। I hope you are all doing well. Must be 8 o'clock from 7:30 for you, right? It's really nice that you are continuing with the Mangalartis and Mangalarti sessions, Mangalarti Bhagavatam discussions also in this time of lockdowns and all. And thank you for an opportunity to associate with you all. Of course, in the presence of Srimad Bhagavatam. But yeah, the time runs so fast, you know. We never realized that 2020 or sorry, the 2019, that was the last time when we all were able to move about freely. And just a flicker of moments, 1.5 years almost gone, and we never got to have our normal regular life as we all thought, you know, it would be. So with every passing year, it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. But then one of the beautiful thing about Krishna consciousness is that when the going get tough, tough gets going, they say, right? So when the material energy is getting more and more tough on us, it actually devotees become even more tougher. It's really painful to see so many wonderful devotees, you know, leaving their bodies just as a cause of this disease. You know, this corona disease. Even just a couple of days ago, a very wonderful devotee friend in Pune, who is a great well-wisher of our family, our Guru Maharaj's family, and very, very enthusiastic and inspiring devotee. In a very young age, he left his body. So, like this, there are so many devotees, you know, and you know, about a month ago, another devotee who used to be very regular in our congregation in here in Chennai, he also left his body. It was a very shock for us because he was hardly 35 years old. So these are things which I don't know how the Krishna is working through. You know, I don't know if it is my volume. I have given the maximum thing. Let me see if I can. See if I can. It's at a max level. How is it?
It's somewhat okay, Prabhu, but if we can't increase, then we can manage.
Krishna, is it better?
Yeah, it is good now. It is good.
Okay. This WebEx, we always have to set up the this camera, this thing and all ourselves. The other tools they develop, they set it up themselves anyway. Okay, so this it's really painful to see how not only devotees, many other living entities are also leaving their bodies, just like you know, just like a pack of cards, we are just falling. And it really it's very important for us to understand that, you know, we can be anywhere in that line. We don't know where we are in that line. Anytime Krishna will send his the agent of death, anytime, and we got to be ready for it. And these association through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna Katha and Krishna's association and discussing all the glorious instructions of our acharyas, it is very beneficial in such a precarious situation that we are in. So thank you so much for giving us an opportunity so that I can also, meditate on the eternal instructions. Many times we do give classes and all that, but then uh, nature is such that we can't. Nature is such that it will samsara dharma hi avimukhyamanaha, right? So it can take away our intelligence in any way through any means. So we can never relax. We can never drop our guards, lower our guards against the onslaught of the material nature. So with that, now we'll go to the sloka. I think 326.9, isn't it? 326.9 is a very beautiful shloka. This is a question by Mother Devahuti. So we'll start with the recitation, word for word, translation, and then followed by purport. And then we'll see what Prabhupada is inspiring us to, and Maharaj is inspiring us to speak. Devahutiruvacha prakrute purushasyapi lakshanam purushottama bruhi karanayorasya sat asatcha yadatmakam. Word for word. Devahuti Vacha, Devahuti said, Prakrutehe of his energies, Purushasya of the Supreme Person, Api also, Lakshanam characteristics, Purusha Uttama, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bruhi, kindly explain, Karanayoho, causes, Asya of this creation, Sat Asat, manifest and unmanifest, Cha and Yat Atmakam, consisting of which. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devahuti said, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, kindly explain the characteristics of the Supreme Person and his energies. Excuse me. For both of these are the causes of this manifest and unmanifest creation. Purport is here. Sorry, Professor, I'll just put this in D&D mode. Sorry. Purport. Prakriti or material nature is connected with both the Supreme Lord and the living entities. Just as a woman is connected with her husband as a wife and with her children as a mother. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he impregnates Mother Nature with children. One sec, Prabhuji and Mataji, there's some noise, so just try to sort out. Hare Krishna, can you hear me now, Prabhus?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. We can.
Okay, sorry about that. Prakriti or material nature is connected with both the Supreme Lord and the living entities, just as a woman is connected with her husband as a wife and with her children as a mother. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that He impregnates Mother Nature with children, living entities, and therefore thereafter all species of living entities become manifest. The relationship of all living entities with material nature has been explained. Now, an understanding of the relationship between material nature and the Supreme Lord is sought by Devahuti. The product of that relationship is stated to be the manifest and unmanifest material world. The unmanifest material world is the subtle Mahat Tattva, and from that Mahat Tattva, the material manifestation has emerged. In the Vedic literature, it is said that by the glance of the Supreme Lord, the total material energy is impregnated. And then everything is born of material nature. It is also confirmed in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that under his glance, Adhyakshena, under his direction and by his will, nature is working. It is not that nature works blindly. After understanding the position of the conditioned souls in relation to material nature, Devahuti wanted to know how nature works under the direction of the Lord and what the relationship is between the material nature and the Lord. In other words, she wanted to learn the characteristics of the Supreme Lord in relation to the material nature. The relationships of the living entities with matter and that of the Supreme Lord with matter are certainly not on the same level. Although the Mayavadis may interpret it in that way, when it is said that the living entities are bewildered, the Mayavadi philosophers ascribe this bewilderment to the Supreme Lord. But that is not applicable. The Lord is never bewildered. That is the difference between personalists and impersonalists. Devahuti is not unintelligent. She has enough intelligence to understand that the living entities are not on the level of the Supreme Lord. Because the living entities are infinitesimal, they become bewildered or conditioned by material nature. But this does not mean that the Supreme Lord is also conditioned or bewildered. The difference between the conditioned soul and the Lord is that the Lord is the Lord, the master of the material nature, and he is therefore not subject to its control. He is controlled neither by spiritual nature nor by material nature. He is the supreme controller himself, and he cannot be compared to the ordinary living entities who are controlled by the laws of material nature. Two words used in this verse are Sat and Asat. The cosmic manifestation is Asat, it does not exist. But the material energy of the Supreme Lord is Sat, or ever existing. Material nature is ever existing in its subtle form as the energy of the Lord, but it sometimes manifests this non-existent or temporarily existent nature of the cosmos. An analogy may be made with the father and mother. The mother and the father exist, but sometimes the mother begets children. Similarly, this cosmic manifestation, which comes from the unmanifest material nature of the Supreme Lord, sometimes appears and again disappears. But the material nature is ever existing, and the Lord is the supreme cause for both the subtle and gross manifestations of this material world. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Transcendental Purports Ki Jai. A very deep and scientific and involved purport. Actually, the entire Sankhya philosophy is so nicely, how should I put it? The essence of it is put inside this one question and the purport also. So this is something which is very interesting here in the purport. There are so many things that Prabhupada is highlighting, but there are some, but it goes wide across the entire Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. It occupies the entire knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita in just three aspects. Is there anybody raise a hand or something? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Looked like in my thing there was a hand was standing, so I thought, oh, it says to raise hand I should press on it. I don't know why by default it is up there. Okay. Different interfaces. So there are three different things with which we can actually put the whole message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam into one kind of a box thing, in a nutshell, basically. That is very nicely inquired by Mother Devahuti. Firstly, we have to be very thankful to such great personalities like Parikshit Maharaj, Devahuti, Mahatma Vidura, and all those, and Shaunak Rishi, all of them who are asking these beautiful questions on our behalf. Because without knowing the relationship, there are three things that which we, as you said, this is three things this is all she is asking. One is, there are actually three entities here. One is Krishna, the other is Prakriti, third is Jivatmas, the living entities. Now, there are three entities, and those there are three kinds of relationships. One is between Krishna and the material energy, that is Prakriti. The relationship between Krishna and Prakriti. The second relationship is between Krishna and the Jivas. Right? We need to know that Sambandha. Relationship means Sambandha. So our entire Vedic Shastras comprise of these three aspects, right? Sambandha, Abhidheya and Prayojana. Sambandha is the relationship. Abhidheya is how to nurture that relationship by doing that devotional service or our eternal occupational duty. Third is our ultimate goal, that is Prayojana, the ultimate, our destination, Prayojana. So these three things are what is explained in so many different ways and means in all of our Shastras. And this Sambandha is one thing that we need to understand. This Sambandha does not mean the material relationship it have between like aunt, uncle, sister, brother, mother, father. That is on the bodily level. But this relationship that which we are talking about is at the spiritual level, right? The relationship at transcendental level. The first relationship is the relationship between Krishna and living the Prakriti. Second is that the relationship between Krishna and the living entity. Third is the relationship between the Prakriti and the Jivas, that is the material energy and the living entities. Okay, so these are the three basic things with which you can encompass pretty much everything about Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and all our scriptures. This is all that we are all looking for, right? So in this, even in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam in various sections, you will find so many shlokas which cater to these three understanding of these three relationships. This is all pretty much our entire this thing, our entire Shastric knowledge is all about. And only when we know this relationship can we act on it, isn't it? So that is where Sambandha always comes first. And Prabhupada so nicely explains here, the first thing that he explains here in the fourth line of this purport is that the relationship of all the living entities with material nature has been explained. Which means already it is explained. Devahuti, Mother Devahuti asks a question very similar to this. Does anyone know the similar question which she is asking a little earlier?
Yeah, when she says that I'm by the Maya, I am totally devastated, or she says something, and she wants to know why it has happened. She went away from the devotional service, something like that. She says, right?
Yeah, just after that, Prabhu, just after that, in 3:25:11, if you take in that shloka, you will see she is a similar question she is asking in the beginning of that 25th chapter itself. That is the glories of devotional service. That Prabhupada writes in the purports very beautifully. 3:25:11, Prabhu. Yes. If you see the translation there, just read the translation. See the second part. first, you can leave the first part. The second part is saying, I inquire from you. Can you read that part?
Yeah, I inquire from you as to the relationship between. Sorry, Prabhuji, you
Just
can go.
random.
Yeah. From you as to the relationship. Sorry. No, the translation. It's in the translation, yeah. I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between the spirit and matter.
So, Jignasayaham, the shloka that she is saying, she is asking question, Jignasayaham prakrite purushasya. You know, Jignasayaham, I am Jignasa, I am inquisitive. I am inquisitive to know more about the relationship between Prakriti and Purusha. Right? This is a very interesting and intriguing question. This Prakriti and Purusha. Now, by default, who is the Purusha? Krishna is the Purusha. Right?
Yeah.
And by default, material nature is the Prakriti. Here, the Purusha and Prakriti actually means enjoyer and the enjoyed. One who is the enjoyer is the Purusha, one who is enjoyed is Prakriti. Right? But the challenging situation here is those who are Prakriti, they think that they are Purusha and they are trying to enjoy. That is the Jivatmas. You see? And that is what Prabhupada is very nicely highlighting in the purport of this verse in the middle of the yes. If you see the second paragraph, the living entities in the guises of men and women are trying to enjoy the material energy. Therefore, in one sense, everyone is Purusha because Purusha means enjoyer and Prakriti means enjoyed. In this material world, both the so-called man and so-called woman are imitating the real Purusha. The real Purusha is Krishna, supreme enjoyer, Adi Purusham. The Supreme Personality of God is actually the enjoyer in the transcendental sense, whereas all others are Prakriti. The living entities are considered Prakriti. In Bhagavad Gita, matter is analyzed as apara or inferior nature, whereas beyond this inferior nature is there is another superior apareya mitastonyam prakriti middhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yedam dharyate jayat, right? Dharyate jagat. You have that sloka, that is what Prabhupada is quoting here. There are two verses in there, 7.4 and 7.5. We'll get to that slowly. But this is such a beautiful science here, Prabhus and Matajis. It may look like a little bit, what is this bit technical? Sometimes devotees may think it is technical. There is not much of a pastime, Leela of Krishna. For some it can be a little bit dull and boring. But actually, Devahuti Mata, for all that she has done, all the seva she has done, she wants to know this for the benefit of all of us. This is very important because there is a relationship between each one of us, the three part, the Prakriti, Purusha and Jivatma. But here, this very nicely, Devahuti Mata is asking this question because many times what happens is we being Prakriti in relation to Prakriti in the sense, not material nature, in the sense of being enjoyed. In relation to Krishna, Krishna is enjoying our, whatever it may be, our association, our service, everything he enjoys, right? So, if instead of being in that natural state of existence, what we are doing is we are taking the Prakriti and we are saying that Prakriti means material nature, right? Prakriti is my playground. I have to play. Just like Krishna is enjoying creating this world and all that thing. I also have to imitate that. And that is why Prabhupada is saying so nicely that so-called man and so-called woman are imitating the real Purusha. If you read, that is the biggest challenge. Our entire problem is because of us trying to imitate Krishna and be the Purushas, trying to enjoy this Prakriti. This is the mistaken identity. Because of the mistaken identity, the relationship gets distorted. instead of maintaining that original relationship, we are distorting that relationship. And when the relationship is distorted, in other words, say suppose I have a long-term relationship with somebody, like some friends, say some devotees, etc. How it works, Prabhupada says that nicely. Prabhu, if you can open, yeah, good that you opened 2 tabs. Maybe we have to go back and forth between these shlokas. See, one thing that Prabhupada says nicely, we will get to that and come back here again. Prabhupada says something in the middle of the purport somewhere, 363, 26.9, Prabhu. That relationship between Krishna and Prakriti is, in other words, Mother Devahuti wanted to learn the characteristics of the Supreme Lord in relation to Prakriti. Can you find that line? Yeah, it related to material nature. Yes, that's the one. See, this is a very interesting statement. If you read through this, then we will understand what that relationship means. The term or the concept of this relationship actually mean. Devahuti wants to know how nature works under the direction of the Lord and what the relationship is between material nature and the Lord. Now, Prabhupada has already said one statement that I want you to keep a bookmark. We will come there. Prabhupada initially said in the first paragraph that already explained. What was already explained? The relationship between the living entities and material nature has been already explained. That is one thing which we have to find out where Krishna, where Krishna has, where Kapil Muni has explained, and what Prabhupada is indicating with the statement. Now here, this is now between the relationship between Prakriti and Krishna. I mean, material nature and the Lord. Okay, the other one is between Jivatmas and material nature. That is already explained, that Prabhupada is saying in the purport. Now, what is this thing? She wanted to learn the characteristics of the Supreme Lord in relation to material nature. So, this is something which is very interesting. As we said about this example, we can take any example. See, suppose I have some sambandha with somebody. That devotee or that person is relating in a certain way, like they are very jovial or they are very understanding or whatever. My characteristic changes according to the mood of that relationship. Is that correct? Can you agree with it, or any difference in the understanding, or if you have a different understanding, you can please feel free to say, either raise your hand, send your message, or speak up, unmute and speak up. Is it all, everybody is muted, Prabhu sir, Matajis? Or they can unmute it? Anybody can unmute, right? We can unmute, right? Anybody can unmute. Yeah, that's better. So this characteristic changes. For example, somebody is in a very cordial relationship with me. My nature would be like, I will be very kind with that person, or I will do something which they may not even be expecting from me. I will go beyond my limits. Whereas someone else is always having an inimical relationship with me. What will I do? This is a normal circumstance I'm saying. This is not the recommended way of behaving. But in the normal thing, this is what it happens naturally, right? If somebody is inimical with me, I keep a distance with that person, or if that person is behaving in a certain way, then my approach, understanding, everything about that person will also change. Well, that is where my characteristic differs according to the mood of that relationship, right? With children, the father may behave in a certain way. With parents, he may behave in a certain different way. With friends, he may differ. Not that he will behave in the same way with all of his thing with one person only, isn't it? So by understanding the relationship between material nature and Krishna, she wants to learn the characteristics of the Supreme Lord. In other words, what is the behavior nature or the character of the Supreme Lord in relation to material nature. This is the underlying reason why she is asking this question about the relationship. Is that clear so far?
Yes, Prabhu.
So anytime we try to say understand the relationship between one entity and another entity, we will also understand the behavioral nature of the two parties based on the relationship. Sometimes between the same parties, for some time there can be a sour relationship, so they may their different characteristic will come out, and after some time it mends and they become all right again. Then they have more pleasing disposition, right? So like this, between the same living entities also it can come. This is among the living entities also I'm saying. But in general, the relationship, what does it entitle? It's between two, it is two conscious living entities, right? It's not entity, conscious entities. So they call it sentient entities. So whenever there is a sentient entities involved in a relationship, there is always some characteristics or their behavioral characteristics come out. Right? That is the underlying question that she is asking here, right? So this is an important point for us to understand. Now, if you go back to that 3:25:11, Prabhu, just switch the tab. Yes. If you see further, see what Prabhupada is saying here. In Bhagavad Gita, matter is analyzed as apara or inferior nature, whereas beyond this inferior nature, there is another superior nature, the living entities, jivatmas, right? Living entities are also prakritis or enjoyed, but under the spell of Maya, the living entities are falsely trying to take the position of enjoyers. That is the cause of samsara bandha or conditional life. This is a crucial few lines that Prabhupada is explaining here. This is the reason Devahuti spoke the previous three verses, that is 3.25.8, 9, 10, the 3-4 verses that she is speaking, no? I am sick of this Nirvinnam Nitaram Bhuman, Asadindri Tarshanat, and all that thing that she is speaking, those verses, because of misidentifying herself in the sense she is putting us in that, putting herself in our position. Misidentifying ourselves as being the Purusha and trying to enjoy the Prakriti, which is supposed to be originally enjoyed by Krishna only. Prakriti is Prakriti for Krishna only, not for us. Right? That is why this those two shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, 7.4 and 5, they establish the complete triangular relationship between the three entities, that is Prakriti, Krishna, and Jivatmas. There are two beautiful instances where in one side you have the in Bhagavatam also, it in two verses the relationship is so nicely established from a different point of view, and in Bhagavad Gita Krishna is establishing the relationship between three entities in a different point of view from in Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter. So we will get there slowly one by one. It is a very, I mean, it is a beautiful science, really speaking. So these lines that Prabhupada is explaining here, this is where we need acharyas like Prabhupada. Because simply by reading the verse or even the translation, we would not get an idea as to what is he is talking about Prakriti and Purusha, and Prabhupada is talking about relationship between man and woman and between spirit and matter. Prakriti, Purusha, if you want to expand, it has to be only between Krishna and the Prakriti. Why Prabhupada is giving these words man and woman in the translation? Because in general, this body of when we talk about man, we call it as Purusha, and we that is enjoyer. And when we talk about a woman, it is always considered as an enjoyed thing. So what Prabhupada is telling in this purport beautifully is that both the so-called man and so-called woman, they are imitating the real Purusha. Both of them want to enjoy, and that is the real cause of the problem. So Devahuti already identified the problem. She is just like Vyasadeva identified the problem, Devahuti also identified the problem, that I am trying to enjoy. I was trying to be the enjoyer when I was in relation with Kardama Muni. I am trying to enjoy when I am having Kapila Muni as my son. When I am seeing this whole world, I see everything as source of my enjoyment, are meant for my enjoyment. And that is why I am becoming Asad Indriya Karshanat. I am Prapannandam Tama Prabho. I am going down and down and down. This is a most beautiful analysis, intricate and scrutinizingly she has analyzed exactly. She has analyzed the problem exactly. There is no need to diagnose the problem further. Problem is already identified by the root cause analysis, they call it now. That is already done by Devahuti Mata. And that is why Prabhupada is expanding it further here, that this is the ultimate understanding we should get from reading these chapters, that while we are actually supposed to be enjoyed by Krishna, we are acting as if we are the enjoyer in order to enjoy the Prakriti. Prakriti does not mean only the material nature. Every other living entity also is meant for my enjoyment. That is also we are considering others as Prakriti. Prakriti means enjoyed, right? So both man and woman, there is no difference between man and woman care, or even the animals and birds and any living entity you take. All of us are trying to exploit. That is why these verses 7.4 and 5 is very important, Prabhu and Mataji. Maybe Prabhu, if you can open the two verses, 7.4 and then the next one. New tab, Prabhu. Maybe going between these. Then just duplicate the tab and change the number instead of typing it every time. Yeah, no, it will not come. Okay, yeah, BG 7.4. Just take that. No, it's there, Prabhu, the link, you can take it. Yeah, that one. See, this is something very interesting. I noticed something very interesting in this verse. After so many years, it's really amazing. See, this is the verse and the next verse, these two verses combined together, they form a beautiful triangular relationship between Krishna, Prakriti and Jivatmas. Krishna is telling in this verse that Bhumi Rapanalo Vaihu Kammano Buddhi Revacha Ahankara iti yamme binna Prakriti Rashtada. Please, if you can come down, Prabhu, you can read the translation.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies.
So these are separated material energies. Okay. Now, there's something very interesting that I found in this thing is that this earth, water, fire, and ether are Pancha Mahabhut, we know. That is material energy, we know. But Krishna is telling that even mind, intelligence, and false ego, they are also material energies. They are also Prakriti. They are not Purusha. And see what is specifically including Ahankara here. Ahankara is material. Ahankara is not spiritual. False ego especially. So whenever we are associating with our false ego, we are actually degrading down to material nature. This is the most beautiful understanding from this sloka. You see, the next sloka, if you go down, probably you may have to go to the next sloka. Let's go down to the next. Apareyam itastonyam prakritim viddhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. You can just type 7 in that. Yeah, that's good. You can read this translation, Prabhu.
Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entity who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
See, this is the second part of this verse. Now, in the first verse, he talked about the Prakriti, right? Bhumi, Apa, Nalo, Vayu, all those 8 elements, right? Apart from this, he is actually separating the spirit soul independently from all these other 8 items. So what he's telling is that there is another superior energy of mind, apareyam, beyond this. Apareyam itastu apareyam, these are all inferior. beyond this, there is another Prakriti, Viddhime Param. Know that Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho, Yaya Idam Dharyate Jagat. Dharyate means it is either utilized or exploited. Prabhupada is saying in both ways. If you are using it in the right way for serving Krishna, that is utilization. If you are trying to enjoy it for ourselves, that is called exploitation. So in both ways, we can use the material nature, right? So this is the Dharyate Jagat, this material world. So living entities are there, material world is there. Both are created by Krishna, right? And this material energy in the 7.4 he has explained, it consists of those 8 items. And this Jivatma is trying to, when it is utilizing in Krishna's service, then it is utilization. See how nicely Prabhupada has given both meanings there in Dharyate. Yaya idam dharyate jagat. What happens though is that when we are utilizing it, we are utilizing in the positive sense, or we can say it this way. When we are utilizing the material nature in Krishna's service, then we are being utilized in the service of Krishna. When we are exploiting the material nature for our own sense enjoyment, we are being exploited by material nature and we degrade down. So whatever we are trying to do to the other entity, that is what we get. Utilization, we know, I think we have discussed this one of the classes earlier in our discussion, that utilization word is actually means we are doing something which is beneficial for everybody. Use means I am engaging someone else for exploit, or use means I am engaging someone else for my enjoyment. Utilization means I am doing some service by which so many living entities will be benefited. That is why whenever we are saying utilize your time, we never say use your time. We say utilize your time, means every moment that we have, we should be utilizing or offering it in the service of others, so that the others will get benefited. So the same way we call it as like, in the electricity, water bills, and we call it as utility bills. Why it is called utility bills? Because they have this generator by which they are giving to so many other people comfortably, and of course they charge some for that. That is, of course, from materially they have to do it, but they call it as utilities because one place where they are source of generation, and then they are giving it for everybody for their benefit. So utility word is always used for others' benefit. Exploitation is used for one's own benefit, one's own enjoyment. So depending on the consciousness of the living entity, the Prakriti can be either utilized or exploited. And this again forms the fulcrum of the relationship. When I am utilizing it in the service of Krishna, then I am acting as Krishna's Prakriti. In other words, I am being enjoyed by Krishna. When I am exploiting this nature for my own sense gratification, then I act as Purusha instead of being a Prakriti for Krishna, and in that process I get more and more degraded. My consciousness become more and more degraded because I am associating with the three material elements that are there in the previous verse, that is Man, Buddhi, and Ahankar. So those three are not spiritual, they are material, even though they are subtle. We have to be very clear about that. And so every time I am getting some material thoughts, I am getting some, say, affected, I am becoming angry, egoistic and all that, it actually means I am associating with the lower, that is the Prakriti, the lower energy, and trying to exploit it, in that process being exploited ourselves. Okay, so these two shlokas, Bhagavad Gita 7.4 and 5, explains so clearly the relationship between Prakriti and Jivas. This is from Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavatam, in many places, this relationship is explained in different ways. Okay. I'm not sure if anybody raised their hands or... I saw some indication as somebody is trying to see. So far clear? Anybody has any questions?
Yes, Prabhuji, I think this is utilized or exploited when you said, I think it reminds the principle which Prabhupada has given us, that utility is the principle. I think it
Yes, Prabhu.
somehow repeats that.
Say, how nice, no, that word. Prabhupada used that word so nicely, no? Utility is the principle. He didn't say usage is the principle, right? So that's a nicely connected thing. Thank you. So this is the first part. Among the three these things, you know. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, another thing, if you can explain a little bit on this, Prabhu, as you said that our mind, intelligence, and false ego is a material. Now, whereas our true ego is, we are the servants of Krishna eternally.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
true ego part, is it that which is our constitutional position? What is the relationship with that our Jivatma as a soul? Or is it that is also, what is its nature? It is spiritual, true ego?
That
Means
is true
false.
ego is completely spiritual, Prabhu. It is the inherent nature of the Atma.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And that true ego is I am Dasa Dasanu Das. I am the servant of Krishna. I am an eternal servant of Krishna.
Yeah.
And that consciousness is the most stable consciousness. And in this entire 10-12 chapters of this discussion between Kapil Muni and Devahuti, right? These three entities and their relationships are very clearly explained. So we told that, that one line where Prabhupada is telling about the relationship between the material nature and living entities is already explained. In the purport, Prabhupada said, no, in 3.26.9.
Yes, Prabhu.
We said we put a bookmark on it. So I was wondering where Kapil Muni explaining this to Devahuti? Because if that is the case, only Prabhupada can write that statement. We don't have to run anywhere. Even this verse is 3.26 before 9, no? This verse number 5 to 8 defines the relationship between living entity and material energy. If you can, Prabhu, it will be better if you open it in an advanced view, Prabhu. This T26.9, no? If you can click on the tab and go to the top. Go to the top of the window. Scroll up. All the way up. Oh, you go up, Prabhu, till the top. Scroll up. Yes, and click on the default view. And select show in advanced view. Yeah, this will show the entire chapter. Please come down. Go up. Yeah, now you are in 9th verse. You have to go to 5th verse. This 5, 6, 7, 8 in these 4 verses, Kapil Muni is already explaining about the. From here, just read the translation alone. These 4 verses, Kapil Muni gives a detailed explanation of how the material energy and the living entity, how they are related. Can you read these translations, Prabhu?
Divided into varieties by her three modes, material nature creates the forms of living entities, and the living entities seeing this are illusioned by knowledge covering future of the illusory energy.
So there are two kinds of feature of this material energy. One is Avaranatmika Shakti, that another is Prakshapatmika Shakti. Prakshapatmika means throwing away from spiritual world to material world, the outside in the illusion. Second thing is Avaranatmika. Avaranatmika means covering. We say Avaran, no? It covers our body. So the Avaran. So Avaranatmika means it covers our original chit, that is the knowledge. So these two are the primary features of illusory energy, Maya. So what Prakriti does is, we are actually without this material form, right? But when Krishna inspires the material nature to create this world and all the living entities, what the mother nature does is that she is giving us some specific body. man body, bird body, animal body, fish body, like that. And when that body is given, our original knowledge that we are the eternal servants of Krishna is covered, avaranatmika. That's why it said that the living entities seeing this are illusioned by the knowledge covering feature of the illusion energy. Now, I am seeing someone with some body. Somebody is having a body. Say maybe man body, animal body, woman body, anybody. When they have that body, as soon as I see that body, I see that person as so and so body only. I don't see them as a living entity. You see. What is that shloka? Panditaha samadarshinaha. Vidya vinay sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva sopakecha pandita samadarshinaha is there, right? So Pandita, a really learned Pandit, will not see the bodies as the person. He will see the living entities sitting within that body. Because he has got that real knowledge, the true knowledge he got it. Here the knowledge is covered. As soon as creates the material nature, Prakriti creates the forms, it covers our original knowledge. And we start thinking that, hey, I am this person, I am born in this area, so I am this Tamil Nadu, I am Tamilian, I am Maharashtrian, I am in Maharashtra, I am Punjabi because I am in Punjab. So like that we identify ourselves with so and so locations and places and community, society, etc., etc. This is the knowledge covering feature of the illusory energy. This is how the relationship between material nature and living entity works, especially when we are in the exploitation part. Dharyate jagat, no. When we are trying to exploit the Prakriti, this is the reaction we get from Prakriti. When we try to utilize it in Krishna's service, we completely give up all the see, in this group we have some 20 odd people. How many of us are from North India? How many are from South India? How many of us are from somewhere else? But when we are talking about this subject matter, not at a moment we get that thought, isn't, hey, he is a Maharashtrian, he is a Bengali, he is a Gujarati, like that. We don't have any such thought, isn't it? We all have this only one consciousness, that is, we are all Krishna devotees. So that illusory concept which is covering the knowledge, Jnana Guhaya we say, no? That Jnana Guhaya means it covers the knowledge thing, Avaranatmika Shakti, that is removed, that is destroyed by the power of this self-realization, the science of self-realization.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Guruji, as devotees also many times we get carried away by that Hindu, and we start talking about faith, and even I see normally many times even Facebooks also many times there are postings from devotees which is promoting the Hindu culture. But
yeah, that moment where, yes, Prabhu, that moment when they are promoting those kind of things, they are actually they are actually resigned their consciousness of devotee, and they are already gone into Maya, Prabhu.
And we also many times feel, oh no, the messages come, and we from inside we feel, yeah, this is right, this is right, what is said here is right, and this is happening, this is wrong, this is right in terms of this faith transfer and all. So all that we also get carried away.
We are also in Maya then. Whenever we are affected, we are influenced by Maya, we are also in Maya, Prabhu. I'm not saying that it is wrong or right. It is just that we don't consider such kind of a classification. They are very insignificant, isn't it? We care for somebody as a Jivatma, not as a Hindu Jivatma, not as a Muslim Jivatma, like that. You see the difference? We care irrespective of whatever Bengali or Tamilian or Malayali or whatever it may be. We care for everybody equally. But one person is doing some exploitation or some illegal thing over to the other person, we care. Many times Maharaj also used to feel concerned about people doing exploitation or trying to overpower another person. He will feel very upset. He will feel very concerned. But that will not be for, only when, say, Hindus are exploited, he will feel like that, and when Muslims are exploited, he will not feel like that. No, he will, across the board, he will feel equally this. That is the real Pandit's mood, Prabhu, consciousness.
And the Dharate word, Prabhupada has actually really told us how can we be in real ego and how we'll get fall into the false ego, he's actually told us practically how it is possible. And when we utilize this material nature for the service of Krishna, we are in real ego. And when we exploit, we are in the false ego. Is that the correct understanding?
Yes, exactly, Prabhu. Yes, very true. That is why, Prabhu, we should not be carried away too much by this, this religion, this community, this nation, and all those things. We are beyond that. But does not mean that we are callous to that. CALLOUS. You understand, Prabhu? If somebody is destroying the human, the fabric of the Vedic culture, the culture that Vedic culture, it is not because I am a Hindu, we belong to Vedic culture, so it should be protected. No. Vedic culture is everywhere. That's why Maharaj would always combine everything, He will say, many times he will say that the people, Islam people, they always do everything opposite. We grow shika and they grow beard. We take snan 3 times a day, they don't take snan at all most of the time. But when it comes to, we worship the deities and they worship the walls. But when it comes to God, you ask them, where is God? They will all say, upar. No, they will not put down. They will say up. No, Allah is up there.
And you could see the roots of the Vedic culture everywhere, in Africa also, in Europe also.
Yeah, everywhere it is there. Maharaj will say that, no, so many places you see. You go to Grand Canyon, Prabhu. I've been there, and down the hill, down the canyon you go, there is a river will be there. And there, the Native Americans, they will be like, moving around with their mules and, whatever things they will. So one of my friends went and asked them, what is your culture? They say that they are like, even before the Britishers went to America, they are there from that age. And they say that, early morning when we get up, we worship the Mother Earth. These are not Indians, by the way, they are from that land. Then we worship the sun when it comes up. Then we worship the sky and we worship the water. Then this is what they said. So this culture is prevalent everywhere, not only in just because in India we are saying. So that kind of a what do you call constrained view we don't have. Prabhu. You have rightly said that this utilization and exploitation part very important. So we have to come out of that kind of a consciousness where I am identifying with some. I am identified with India. India is growing, then we become happy. I don't identify with America or Pakistan like that. It doesn't work that way, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, we have to say, just like it was mentioned, we have to say yes with everyone, but internally we should know these are all nonsense.
Yeah, that shloka is there, no? 7th canto, 14th chapter, 13th chapter, it is there. We should say just yes, and then internally we should have our program
Yes,
of
it's mentioned in
something very simple. Yeah. That's it's like that, we don't have to get carried away by these things, But in general, our compassionate nature will be there. This should be for all living entities, not just for, say, someone who is related to me. That is why this relationship thing is very nicely explained here, so nicely, because this, all 3 entities are there and all of them have a triangular relationship between Prakriti and Krishna, Prakriti and Jivatma and Krishna. Now, we talked about the relationship between, this is what we are talking about, this relationship between Prakriti and Jivatma. So this is the first shloka. If you come down to the next one, Prabhu, 26, 6. Just keep coming down. Yes, if you can read that translation.
Material consciousness is the cause of one's condition.
No. It's.
Sorry. Because of his forgetfulness, the transcendental living entity accepts the influence of material energy as his field of activity, and thus actuated, he wrongly applies the activities to himself.
So this is again deepening the understanding of the relationship between a exploiting living entity and Prakriti, Mother Prakriti. Got it? So this Prakshepatmika Shakti and Avaranatmika Shakti, because he's covered, knowledge is covered, and he forgot everything, what he is truly. We have all forgotten our true nature. That is why we are all suffering in this world. The transcendental living entity. See how nicely is it? Transcendental living entity. So because of that relationship of exploitation. See, Mother Nature also, she is very kind. She's a devotee of Krishna. So she knows how to deal with different living entities. If we are going like a devotee, then she will treat us as a devotee. If we are going as a sense enjoyer, then he will treat us like that. And the reciprocation will come in the same way. If you go for utilization, then she will utilize in the service of Krishna. If you are trying to exploit her, she will exploit us. Right? Can you read the next one? This is such a nice verse, this.
Material consciousness is the cause of one's conditional life, in which conditions are enforced upon the living entity by the material energy.
Again, this part is for the exploiting living entities. Earlier, that verse, this is continuing here. The previous verse is continuing here.
Although the spirit soul does not do anything and is transcendental to such activity, he is thus affected by conditional life.
See, such a clear message here. Huh? Akartur, bhavati akartur ishasya, actually the soul is independent. It has nothing to do with any of these things. The spirit soul is not the doer for any of these our activities, karma that we are doing. Everything is organized by our exploiting tendency, by the material mind, intelligence, and false ego. These three only do the exploitation part. Okay, the next one, Prabhu.
The
Hare
cause
Krishna,
of
Prabhu.
condition. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Just I want a question on this previous verse.
Yes,
You
Prabhu.
said that the spirit soul is transcendental to always.
Hmm.
But do you mean to say that the spirit soul is not responsible for its karma? Just it's only the mind and intelligence false ego?
Yeah, it's only the mind, intelligence, false ego.
Including the soul also, no? Soul is also implicated in the karma. Correct?
Soul is not responsible for the karma. It is not affected by the karma. The consciousness can be contaminated, but the soul is not contaminated. You can
Soul is
see,
not contaminated.
soul is
But
not
it is.
soul is
Okay,
never
we are
contaminated.
identifying with the body. That's why.
Yes. That is the main reason for our suffering. Actually, even when we are suffering, the soul is not suffering. It is a mind that is making us that feel that we are suffering.
Mind is something. Okay.
Mind is the one that is creating this whole illusory thing in collaboration with the matter. Prabhupada says that beautifully in one purport. In collaboration with the matter. Maharaj also explained nicely in one lecture.
Yeah, collaborating with Idlis and Sambars.
Yes. That's the same thing. So this is a very important point for us to understand. The spirit soul does not do anything, nor it is affected by any karma. Yeah, our happiness, everything is not affecting the soul at all.
Thank you. Sorry for interfering.
No problem, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Anytime. Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Prabhuji, when we say this one, I have a long pending doubt in my mind. Because if we say that soul is not this thing affected, then who is the enjoyer? Means why he has to come to material world, if he is not the enjoyer?
He is not, it's only the consciousness that is trying to, that is enjoying and suffering. These are the mind, the consciousness in collaboration with the mind. Consciousness is only contaminated, soul is not contaminated.
So
Soul does not enjoy or suffer any of the material activities or its reactions, Prabhu.
So then there is no question of coming down, no, Prabhu Vaikunta?
No, frankly speaking, we are not coming down. In one sense, if we are properly in devotional service, we are in spiritual world. Jivan Mukta Sauchate.
No, I'm talking about location like Vaikunta and the Dharma.
Location doesn't matter, Prabhu. Location doesn't matter. Here also you can be in spiritual world.
No, that in that sense we are like if you do bhakti, we are in trance or we are in spiritual
Yes,
world.
if you are doing pure bhakti, Prabhu, location doesn't matter. Narayana parasarvena kutashana vidyati. Right?
Then how we understand the 14 planetary systems and Vaikunthas and all the expansions of
It is
spiritual
obvious.
world?
Prabhu, you have a beautiful house in, say, somewhere in India or Abu Dhabi, say. Same, exactly the same facilities that are available in the US, you have it in Abu Dhabi. Does it make a difference to you whether you live in Abu Dhabi or US? The sheikhs in Abu Dhabi are more happy than the businessmen in US, America, right? Sometimes.
Then why the word came, we fall down like from the spiritual
That
world,
fall
we
down is
came to
because of
material down.
that fall down is because of we see that that enjoying propensity, the consciousness, chitta, they call it as chitta, no? That chitta, Prabhu, I am getting background echo, Prabhu. Sorry, am I the only one getting that background echo? Maybe because of someone's not being muted. I am hearing my own voice. Okay. Disturbances there. Okay. So this it's only the chit that is getting contaminated, Prabhu. The spirit soul is not contaminated in that sense. Even when it come down to the material world, it is that consciousness that is affected. I don't know how to say this. I don't know if there is an example that I can tell you. Oh, sun is there, Prabhu. And sun's rays, you are using it, and you are using it for some, to something else. You are contaminated thing. And it becomes contaminated. Say, the rays come down, and you are doing some experiment, and it is contaminated. Sun doesn't get contaminated, no. But the sun's rays are part and parcel of sun, right? Sun's rays is an effect of the sun's capacity. So the consciousness is part and parcel of the jiva's nature. So it's a consciousness, that is the chit, that gets affected, not the soul itself.
Okay, bro. That because we have all these expansions and material world is Prakriti is created, and then we have Ahankar, all these five material elements. Because all these creation started to Lord want to impose Jiva in the material world.
Not impose. He didn't want to impose us.
Means we want to go either it's a self or it is by nature, because even if we came ourselves, then if soul is not affected, why we have to come?
Soul, that's what Prabhu, see, if the consciousness is an expansion of the soul. It is like sun is giving rise to rays, right? Same way the soul is giving rise to consciousness. Our soul is the soul's presence, the consciousness is pervaded all over my body, correct? In this material body. The same way there also I had the spiritual, the chit, that's called as chit. And sometimes when that thing is that consciousness gets affected, does not mean that soul is getting affected. So soul is the cause of it. Prabhu, simple example if I have to give you, the project team is there, okay? The project manager is there, and below him there are some 10 different team members are working, okay? One of the team members is making some mistake. He is committed some major blunder in his thing, whatever is responsibility assigned to him, right? But because of him, you will see that the project manager did not make this person do this mistake, correct? But then his mistake will affect the project. Yes.
Yeah.
So the project manager will hold the accountability for it. Maybe he might be sacked or whatever, but then the reaction of this person's mistake will affect the project manager, right?
Yeah.
Even though he was not, he is accountable, but he didn't do it. We call that words, no, accountability.
Yes, bro.
So it is like that. Soul is accountable for the contamination of the consciousness, but it is not the cause of the contamination of the consciousness. Does this example give some light, Prabhu?
Very good example. Very good.
Yeah. So it's a bit difficult to understand because we have to reach there, it's I mean to say, when our consciousness, see, we are trying to understand the contamination of the consciousness through the contaminated consciousness itself. That is
Yes,
where this
that is
come.
true. That is true.
Consciousness, the thief, when he is asked to accept that, you are a thief, you explain everything about the theft, he will not do. He will say, no, I didn't thief, So that is what happens here. So anyway, so let's go to this. So these are the slokas, these 4 slokas. Have you read this translation yet or no?
No, not
This,
yet.
this,
Yeah, the
this
eighth
is
one.
what? This is the 8th one, no?
Yeah, the cause
No,
of
not 8.
conditioned souls.
Yes, Prabhu, please, can you?
The cause of the conditioned souls, material body, under senses presiding deities, the demigods, is the material nature. This is understood by learned men. The feeling of happiness and distress of the soul, who is transcendental by nature, are caused by the spirit soul himself.
So this is how the material relationship between the material energy and the Jivatma works. The living entity works. The living entity is trying to exploit the material energy, but it reacts in kind. It exploits the Jivatma and to get more and more sucked up into the material consciousness. When it tries to utilize, then he is the same energy, we can utilize it in Krishna's service and we can give up this very source of the suffering, that is the material nature. Is that clear? That is for the relationship between material energy and Jivatma. Okay, and there is now the how Krishna, then the relationship between Krishna and Prakriti. That is what Prabhupada says here, that Devahuti Mata is asking this question to Kapil Muni as to the relationship between the Lord and the Prakriti. Right? And that will be explained by Kapil Muni in the subsequent verses. But there are many other slokas preceding in the previous chapters, in the subsequent cantos also, where the relationship between Krishna and Prakriti is very clearly explained. One of the slokas is our famous 2.9.34, our Chatushloki Bhagavatam, that 3rd sloka. First sloka talks about Krishna. Second, that is 33rd verse, talks about Krishna. 34th chapter, 32, 30, no, 33, 34, 35, 30, yeah. 33 talks about Krishna. 34 talks about Maya, material energy. 35 talks about the relationship between Krishna and Maya. At the same time, he enters into it and he does not. Yata Pravishtani Bhutani. What is that shloka? You can take it down. 2.9.35. यथा महांति भूतानि, भूतेषु च वचेषु प्रविष्टानि अप्रविष्टानि तथा तेषु न तेषु. If you can read the translation. So these are some of the things which we found out in just a very short time. If you can really scrutinizingly study Bhagavatam with these 3 concepts in mind, this is a whole exercise we can do for ourselves. And for our own benefit of our own understanding of the spiritual, this whole realm of the spiritual knowledge, See how he is telling that, O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, at the same time I am outside of everything. This is how he is controlling the entire material world, by entering also and by not entering also. This is very nicely explained in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam. No, it is 9.5, I think. It's very nicely explained there in that shloka. If you can take that. So many slokas, I was just sitting for half an hour, I could see so many of them are coming, and it is so amazing how Prabhupada, how this our Shastras are revolving around these 3 concepts so nicely. Actually, it is 9. Where is that? 4 and 5, I think. 4, yes, 4 and 5. But 4 is good enough. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina mastani sarvabhutani nachaham tesh avasthitaha. He says, "This is no by me in my unmanifested form. This entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them." What it means is that Krishna, in two forms, he is controlling this material energy and the living entity. One is in his avyakta form, that is the impersonal Brahman form. He is throughout the entire world, he is pervading and sustaining that through his Brahman form. And by his Paramatma form, he enters into every single living entity, and by that way, he is taking care of them in his personal form. So, both personally and impersonally, he is managing this entire world along with the living entities, material world, along with this cosmic manifestation, along with the living entities.
Which
This
is
is such a 9.4. 9.4 Prabhu Maya Tatamidam Sarvam Jagadavyaktamurtina. That one. This one, and even we can take 9.5 also, both combined together. 7.4, 7.5, 9.4, 9.5. Similar things, you see. That's why 7th and 9th chapter are always, they will be very similar in many ways. In these two slokas you take, you will understand how he's saying Pashyama Yoga Maheshwaram. Just look at my opulence. I enter also, I don't enter also, and I maintain within this thing. This is the inconceivable nature of Krishna. Right? By understanding these nice relationships between these three entities, we will be able to appreciate Krishna's opulence, Krishna's glory, even just within this material world. We are not even talking about the spiritual world. Forget about the spiritual world. This material world itself, so much is there. This is where I really appreciate how Maharaj made us understand the miracle of Krishna through small, very simple examples, which we can easily relate to. Maharaj would say this whole body itself is a universe, isn't it? This whole body itself is a universe. There is no plumber involved in putting all this. There's such tiny pipes inside our body where all liters and liters of blood, gallons and gallons of blood is flowing through every moment, and air is moving, fire is there, and no external entity is coming and igniting the fire or pushing the water or opening the tap. Exactly, it is just flowing inside. Who is controlling them? And this ear, nose and throat, this work, one of our devotees is a ENT doctor, and when Maharaj asked him, do you know how, you are a ENT doctor, do you know how the ear works? He is our Vishwabhavan Prabhu from Yugoslavia. You would have seen him in one of the programs there when he came. He said, no Maharaj, I don't know, I am a ENT doctor, but I don't know how this ear works, it's a magic. It's Krishna's magic. So like this, Maharaj used to take small, and you just put in khichdi and it works for 50-60 years non-stop. How does it work? There is no servicing, there is no part replacement, there is nothing of that sort. But your car, you have to service it every 6 months, but this body, you don't have to service it at all. You just eat Rasgulla, it works. You eat khichdi, it works. And like this, Maharaj will take it. So you cut the body, anywhere you cut, blood will come. Which means the veins are the carrier of the blood, so the veins got cut. Now you just put some saliva in it or some oil, something in it, some little thing that is only to cover the thing. You are not going and stitching each and every vein exactly one vein to the other vein. Who is connecting that exactly that same vein to the other vein? Like this, Maharaj will give so many examples just to understand the magic that Krishna is doing with his just. He's saying Pashyama Yoga Maheshwaram. This is just a spark, one spark of my splendor, whatever I have shown you. That is how Krishna says, isn't it? So he's saying, I am the very source of this creation. So this shloka tells the connection in Bhagavatam between Krishna and Prakriti. Like this, several shlokas, several things you can find out, And okay, now the most important part is the relationship between Krishna and the Jivatma, right? We saw the relationship between Jivatma and Prakriti. We saw a relationship between Krishna and Prakriti, right? We saw, and we will have to see relationship between Krishna and Jivatma, correct? And that is what is about devotional service. The entire chapter of this 3.25, then one more chapter will come, 3.29 and all further down. And throughout Bhagavatam, it is about, wherever there is a description of devotional service and the relationship, the relationship of Krishna with Jivatma is elaborately explained. For that, so maximum portion of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is dedicated for that relationship, because that is what is most important for us. Relationship between us and Prakriti, once we know, that's good enough. Between Prakriti and Krishna also, once we know, that is good enough. But between us and Krishna, that has to be always nurtured, because that is our primary responsibility. And in between, there is also one interesting thing about, we said about how the Maya material energy relates with the bewildered or the exploiting living entity and the utilizing living entity, the good and the bad one, right? And there will also be in this world there is two different living, this both exploiting entity also is there, utilizing entity are also there, and between them that sambandha is also explained in Bhagavatam, how we have to relate between with those other living entities who are not in the proper consciousness, who are more absorbed in who are more bound by the material nature. Now, one thing very nicely Krishna says is that how Krishna creates this Prakriti, right? Coming back to that relationship between Krishna and Prakriti, sa ikshate, just by looking at just by his vision, he just creates. And one other beautiful thing is explained further in our this 26th chapter, little further down, about 10-12 verses later, is that all these are existing fine, but especially for the relationship between Krishna and the Prakriti, material energy, there is one extra ingredient is required, because Krishna is not directly in touch with the material nature. He is creating it just by looking at it. But then, in order to make it functional, he has to use another agent, and that agent is our most dear agent called time. With the help of time only, he is agitating the material nature, and he is making all the living entities come, and the living entities combine together. Like we are 20 of us, we are here. Who made this come together? It's a time, element of time. Krishna's energy called time. It actually brings us all together. Krishna's expansion. That is why this is the only place where it is said time is itself Krishna. It's not an expansion of Krishna. If you look at slokas a little further down, in the same 26th chapter, it's so nicely explained by Kapil Dev. This chapter is such a beautiful chapter. We can just keep meditating on it so nicely, you know. So 3, 6, 8, 9, then aggregate name elements, Namaspadana, then where does it come? Yeah, 3, 26, 15. 15 if you can go, and keep reading for a few 2-3 verses, Prabhu, just the translation.
All these are considered the qualified Brahman. The mixing element, which is known as time, is counted as the 25th element.
This is 24 elements, you know, right? The Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, then the Pancha Mahabhuta, then the 5, the senses, the hearing, speaking, and all those 5 different things. So this is 20. And Man, Buddhi, Ahankar, those 3 are 23. Atma is 24. Then we have the 25th element is time. If you can, yeah, you can read this one, Prabhu.
The influence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is felt in time factor, which causes fear of death due to the false ego of the deluded soul who has contacted material nature.
So this is the thing, deluded soul is the exploiting soul, and he has contacted the material nature, and because he has contacted the material nature, he is more in touch with the Manabuddhi Ahankar. He is in the material consciousness, and because of that, the Krishna as time element is creating fear in that living entity. Next one, Prabhu.
My dear mother, O daughter of Swayambhu Manu, the time factor, as I have explained, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom the creation begins as a result of agitation of the neutral, unmanifested nature.
See, if you see that, the time factor, as I have explained, is the Supreme Personality of God. It is Krishna only. This is the most, what do you call, like a strongly established understanding of time as non-different from Krishna himself. And the next one, Prabhu.
By exhibiting his potencies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead adjusts all these different elements, keeping himself within as a super soul, without us time and without us.
See, inside he is as Paramatma, outside he is as Kala, time. That is how he expands himself in that way. So all the different elements are adjusted by his power of time, by his expansion as time, and within a super soul. Like as super soul, he is making us talk, he is making us walk, he is making us do so many things. And as outside as time, he is making things moving in this world. Like the seasons are changing, days are changing, months are changing, right? So all these things he is doing with the help of him by his expansions of in these two forms of him, is himself, super soul and as time himself. And the next sloka is again it concludes the understanding of this relationship between Krishna and Prakriti. Read this, Prabhu.
After the Supreme Personality of Godhead impregnates material nature with its internal potency, material nature delivers a sum total of cosmic intelligence, which is known as Hiranmaya. This takes place in material nature when she is agitated by the destination of the conditioned souls.
So she is agitated by the destinations of the conditioned souls. See, this time, see, like how she is agitated, like say, for example, it changes, no, material nature. First of all, Supreme Lord impregnates Aham Bija Prajapita. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no, in the 14th chapter, Tasam Mahad Brahma. Those two shlokas in 14.3 and 4. Again, whatever we are seeing here, no, we will find an equivalent verse in Bhagavad Gita. That is the beauty of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, you know. So this he impregnates with the internal potency. Material nature delivers a sum total of the cosmic intelligence known as Hiranmaya. In other words, in this purport, if you read, Prabhupada will talk about the Pradhana. Pradhana is the unmixed form of all the material elements. And when Krishna acts as time, it becomes a Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva is the one where the mixed form of all the material elements. You can crudely think like that. And in that he is putting the he's putting in the Jivatmas. And that's why he's saying Sarva Yonishu Kauntaya Murtaya Sambhavantiyaha Tasa Mahad Brahma Aham Bija Pradapita. I am the seed giving father. For everything, he is the one who is giving the seed. And from there on, everything manifests. This is how Krishna and Prakriti works with the help of time and his separated energies called Jivatmas. We are doing this exploiting, right? When we work on this Prakriti has its own way of changing. Like if a good king is there, like for example, Vena was there, is a bad king. The Prakriti hid all the things, all the seeds of everything. And when a good king like Prithu Maharaj came, she just started blooming and she started growing. So this is just one example. Based on our consciousness, Prakriti also reacts accordingly. And that is pretty much happening now. All what is happening is because of the combined exploiting consciousness, exploiting nature of all the living entities. It has probably reached a threshold because of which nature is adjusting herself. We can see that way from a higher perspective. Right? Somebody is exploiting, and as a result, nature is reacting. Because she is also conscious. At the end of the day, this universe is conscious because Krishna is there. Prakriti is a conscious personality, Mother Nature. That's why we call her Mother Nature. Right? So stop here, Prabhus and Matajis. Any questions, comments? This is really a beautiful subject, and we can even do a complete analytical study of this, because this itself is analytical study, this Sankhya Yoga. So this entire 8-10 chapters, Kapil Muni will be giving everything in like bisecting, dissecting everything, complete message will be given so nicely. That is why Prabhupada specifically wrote a separate book called Teachings of Lord Kapila on these 10 12 chapters only. And he gave an exclusive 2 weeks classes on each day one verse, a big huge Pandal program in Mumbai for the Radharas Bihari temple. So we know how Prabhupada was how Prabhupada was highlighting the importance of these chapters, how much he felt this is very important. I think, is that Chintan Prabhu asking, can you please explain the term Mahatattva? Prabhu, Mahatattva, Prabhupada says this in the 326 10, Prabhu. You see, where is that Mahatattva? Mahatattva is a combination of all the material elements, Prabhu. Everything that is there before agitation, before time comes and gets agitation, around the time when it agitates, that's when this Mahatattva is formed from Pradhana. So all the various 5 Mahapanchabhutas, the 3 modes, then all those things that is required for the ingredients that are there in this Mahatattva. And once the Mahatattva is agitated by the time and it starts developing the various manifesting, it's basically the manifested form of the material nature is called Mahatattva. Unmanifested form is our Pradhana.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
So you covered all the 4 factors of the Bhagavad Gita principle. Jiva, Purusha, Prakriti, Kala. Where is the karma comes from?
Karma is the living entity's activities. When the living entity utilization and exploitation, whenever we work in the mood of utilization, it is akarma. Whenever we work in the mood of exploitation, it is vikarma. And that's why that is the only element that is not eternal. Everything else is eternal. See, Prakriti is eternal. Prabhupada says nicely in this purports that Prakriti is eternal.
Correct. Yes. Unmanifested and manifested. Yes.
Manifested. Whether it is manifest or unmanifest, it is always existing.
Eternal. Yes.
Yeah.
All 4 factors are eternal.
That's a beautiful thing, because that's a beautiful thing that karma is not eternal. Because if karma is eternal, we won't go back to Goloka at all.
Correct. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, this material nature is a cause of all the living entities. It is giving a birth under the supervision of Krishna. So, birth is practically when a baby is born. Material nature is entering woman, womb of a mother and giving a body, forming a body. Practically, when the baby is born, I mean, Karmana Devi Netirana, we know based upon past activities.
Yes.
Yeah. So soul is entering to the semen of a man into the womb of a woman. So along with the soul, all subtle body also goes along with soul. Mind, intelligence also go along with the soul to the womb of a mother. Number 1 question.
Yes. No, soul cannot exist independently in this material world. It needs a chair to sit, and we have to sit like that. No, so like that, the subtle body is its what you call is a place where it can sit inside. It is covered inside because of our karma.
Yeah. So when then that means soul and subtle body enters to the womb of a mother, then the body is formed based upon our past deeds. In the body's baby's body is formed. Their material nature plays a role, right? Formation of body inside the womb of a mother.
Yes, Prabhu. See, time. See, what is that? Kala karma gunadino dehoyam panchabhautikaha. It is said, no?
Yeah.
1 minute.
113:45. 113:45. No.
Yes. So we are all under the influence, under the control of the kala karma guna adina. Means by the time, karma and guna, the material modes. Material modes means material energy. That is how we get the body made of 5 elements. Okay.
Yeah.
So whatever karma is coming, whatever karma we have done, that will be input to the material nature. I mean, the material nature which is Brahma is giving this body, no, he will tell the material nature, okay, this for this man, the Jivatma, this is a karma account he has. So give him this lion body, this give him this elephant body, give this man body, like that, and mix him with the three modes in these three modes. Predominantly in ignorance for this person, predominantly in Sattva Guna for this person, like that.
But this was decided where, Prabhuji?
By our karma.
Our karma, but decide where is the location, where it is decided?
Prabhu. Don't worry too much about location, Prabhu. See, we are in online, we are not worried about which location we are in. It can be, see, Krishna is inside our heart also. He can say, here only he can decide also.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. So location itself means physical, Prabhu. This is spiritual.
fine.
This is transcendental, you understand?
Yeah, yeah.
So he may decide in Goloka, he may decide Vaikuntha. He is not even in touch with us because he doesn't care for material living entities.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Prabhuji, your
So-
lecture, one point was very nice that you said the relation between Jiva and Prakriti and Purusha, when you explain that we normally forget that we are also Prakriti. We think only material nature is
Yes.
Prakriti. We are
Yes,
not
that is very good. Yeah,
Yeah, that is very
Prakriti.
wonderful. And
Yeah.
also, we see the reaction. We exploit Prakriti, and Prakriti exploit us. When we
Yes.
don't exploit Prakriti, we'll go directly to God. When we
Yes,
exploit,
yes.
this is just we trouble her, and Prakriti
Yes.
troubles us. This is the whole story of our whole life in material world.
Utilization and exploitation. And
thank
yeah, I just want to conclude because yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
Guruji, like we exploit Prakriti and Prakriti also exploits us. Like that, if we utilize Prakriti, how Prakriti utilizes us in the service of Krishna? If we utilize Prakriti in the service of Krishna,
She gives all facilities. She gives all facilities. She ensures that we don't get affected by the material modes. She ensures she makes sure that whatever objects which we are using or the items or anything that we are using in this utilizing in Krishna's service, that gives us more and more bhakti. She ensures that that happens.
does she can we assume that she would try to take away the obstacles in our bhakti, or she would?
Well, Krishna can give more obstacles also. The real obstacle is our mind, right? So as long as our consciousness is clean, there's no problem. So he will ensure that our consciousness of Krishna, serving Krishna, is intact. Obstacles actually create more opportunity for service, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay.
So the thing is, yes, one side, as you said, anywhere there is some obstacles coming, like Jadabharat Maharaj. See, Mother Kali was there. She is a personification of material energy. She controls all the material energy. So when Jadabharat Maharaj was about to be beheaded by this robbers, she killed them all. She ensures that she protected Jadabharat Maharaj as a great devotee. So that way she will protect us, right?
Yes, Prabhu. I think this is a
So
wonderful point today.
So this is what is that shloka? There are two shlokas are there. Devasya Maya Spushta. That shloka is there. It's a 3 to 10. That is one thing. And Vilaja Manaya Yasya, that is also there, where it talks about how Mother Nature in relation with the utilizing living entities. It is so nicely explained there. 3 to 10 is very nice verse. That is that. Devasya Maya Sprushta. Under no circumstances can the words of persons bewildered by the illusion energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered souls. This is the relationship of Mother Prakriti with the surrendered souls. That is the souls who are utilizing. No? And then the other one is Vilajamana says 2:5:13. I'll just take that one. These are beautiful slokas. We can just collect so many slokas with these three concepts in mind. One thing Maharaj will always do, once he catches hold of a concept, he will not leave it. He will just hold that. With that vision only, he will see the whole of Bhagavatam. He will scan the whole of Bhagavatam. and then he will catch so many different shlokas, and then he will say, okay, this is a collection. So like this, our study is unlimited. Bhagavatam study is unlimited. See this one, 2513. See, this is a beautiful verse. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine. This is how the material nature reciprocates with the exploiting living entities. So she can't touch the devotees by any way, in any way. And last but not the least, the Bhagavatam shlokas, which connects, which tells this three-way relationship between Jivatma, Prakriti and Ishvara, is our Bhagavatam shlokas 1, 7, 4 and 5. In this our Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranihite Male Apashyat Purusham Purnam Mayam Cha Apashrayam. Then Yaya Sammohito Jiva Atmanam Trigunatmakam Paropi Manute Anartham Tatkritam Chabi Padyate. These two shlokas are the nice connecting verse for this three-way. Thus, he fixed his mind perfectly engaged in linking in devotional service without any tinge of materialism, and thus he saw that without any tinge of materialism is a key phrase there. And thus he saw the absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy, which was under his full control. This is the relationship between Krishna and Prakriti. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcended to three modes of nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reaction of material miseries. This is the relationship between material energy and exploiting living entities. Anarthopasamam Shakshat and the Yasyama Ishvamanayam talks about the relationship between Krishna and the utilizing living entities and the Prakriti and the utilizing living entities. That's all is the three-way relationships for today.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hundreds and thousands of such slokas inside Bhagavatam for this. You see, Bhagavatam with this vision, no, you get so many nice slokas.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just quick
Yes.
one.
Yes,
In connection to your this thing which you told about 7.5 and 7.4, in this also nicely it is, see, now the body has reached to a stage like now, as Manor Prabhu asked a question, like we have arrived in this. Now I don't understand, like I want to know from you whether this Janma as the human form I have got it, or I was also coming from somewhere like in some species, or I directly arrive to human, my downfall will be to other species or upgrade. First thing
It
is
depends
this.
on our karma, Prabhu. It depends on our consciousness and our karma.
Okay.
We can
Now
go up
here,
or down. Bhagavad Gita says that, no, Prabhu. Bhagavad Gita has that the urdam gachanti sattvasta madhya tishtanti rajasa.
okay, which was that number, Prabhu?
14th chapter, some shloka, Prabhu, 1 minute. I'll just get it for you. Yeah, it is 14.18, Prabhu.
14.18. Okay. But now if you see, if you go to page Bhagavad Gita 7.22, it says that the living entity in the mode of material nature, the living entity in the material nature thus flows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with the material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among the various. But in the purport, Prabhupada is writing,
This is
how to
which verse, Prabhu? I'm not seeing that.
13.23 Bhagavad Gita.
13.23, okay.
And in the purport, the first line itself is, this verse is very important to understand how the living entity transmigrated from one body into other. It is explained in the second chapter, the living entity transmigrates from one body to another just as he changes the dress. But now to get out of it, now we may be thinking about karma and this all things. But again, Prabhupada is explaining in the middle as how can we change this by okay, our karma is that, but here it changed. The changes can be effected only by hearing from the authoritative source. I think by only hearing now. Of
Yeah.
correct, no, Prabhu?
यस्यां वै श्रूयमाणायां कृष्णे परमपुरुषे भक्तिमुत्पद्यते पुंसां शोकमोहभयापः. Yasyam vai Shruyamanayam. When we start hearing about Krishna from everyone, about this nature, about this material energy, about ourselves, about all this man, buddhi, ahankar and all this, everything will become very clear. To the extent we have to do devotional service. There are some things which we cannot understand. So what Maharaj would say to us is that you go there and understand. Why you want to understand everything here only? Then if you go there, nothing will be there to talk. You better go there. The rest of the things you find from there.
Okay,
What is the excitement if you know everything here? And then you go there, nothing would be there for us to enjoy and excited about.
Thank you, Prabhu, very much for your wonderful explanation.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Nice questions and nice reflections, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hope we can stop here, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nice. We didn't feel the time at all, how it goes. Kala Chakra, the name from Maharaj has given, and the Kala has gone to 9:30, but we are not realizing, and we are still want to hear more and more from you.
Prabhu, we can't do, Prabhu. In another 9 minutes, I have another class to start. I was hoping that I will complete by 10:30 and do some revision for that. But the nice questions started coming, so I didn't feel like it's okay. I will, Krishna willing, I'll just manage it some more there.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please keep
Thank you,
on
Prabhu.
giving your association, Prabhu.
Somehow Krishna's arrangement is bringing us back to you. You are tolerating me. 2 hours I am torturing you, but still you are saying no.
No, Prabhu,
More
not at all.
torture.
Not at all, Prabhu, not at all. Nobody has felt like that. It's really a pleasure to have you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. We'll stop here.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Bol Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Another Pranam Prabhu's Mataji's Krishna willing will connect some other time.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.